Hello, everybody. Welcome to Timesphere, where we have timely discussions that are never on time. Scott, once more, we are probably the last gaming podcast to discuss the outcome of the Game Awards, the announcements from the Game
Hmm.
Awards, and everything of the fallout. I will give every listener a heads up. That is the most of this discussion this week is going to be about the Game Awards, just because there's not a lot else that happened over the period of time between the Game Awards and when we recorded this. Most companies don't really put out big news the during the same time frame as the Game Awards, just because they're either at the Game Awards in the pre-show, or they wait until the next week because there's no reason to get your game kind of run over by Game Awards prep and
Hmm.
coverage and stuff. Basically, if you put out news about your game the week of the Game Awards, you're less likely to get coverage. Not necessarily from like the few remaining publications that most people that are trying to get PR for matter in their mind, but more so the content creators and like any kind of traction on social media, because most people are focused on speculation and last minute prep for whatever streams they're doing and the like of that. So most people skip it if they're not actually going to be part of the proceedings, unless they're like a big brand or something along those lines. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the Game Awards. Scott and I both watched. I streamed it live with our friend Anna. That was I'll say interesting. But it's become a yearly tradition. So did that. That was fun. I'd say it was a pretty decent show. It was all around like it's the same issue that a lot of people have, and we'll talk a little bit about the quote unquote controversy around this year's show a little bit later. But the whole point of shows like this, and it broadens out to the whole point of a broadcast like a PlayStation State of Play, an Xbox Developer
Hmm.
Showcase, or a Nintendo Direct. The point of this is not to have constant like big games back to back. The point is to have a widespread of different games at varying price points and varying levels of development that appeal to the most amount of people, because you want to try and get the spread of the games industry interested in what you're putting out. So that's a big point of what the Game Awards is. Obviously, a lot of those people paid to have trailers there for their announcements and stuff, so that also plays into it. And again, we'll talk about that later. But the idea here is, um, not everything is going to be for you. Not everything should be for you, and not everything should be a big budget AAA game that is going to be throwing money at the wall constantly.
Hmm.
That's
And
not the
it's going
point
to
of
take
this.
years of development.
Exactly, yeah. Like we saw a lot of
Hmm.
really cool stuff that's going to be out soon, or at least out in the next couple years,
Yeah.
versus like some of the stuff that we
Yeah.
think could be a next console generation, like mid
Yeah.
next console generation. So who knows? Um, but yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed the show. It was not my. I think I liked last year's show a little bit more in terms of like the. I think the pacing overall this year was better, and it did have
Yeah.
a much better focus on the developers, and kind
Hmm.
of like the industry as a whole. I think this year was more of a highlight for the industry, but last year's show definitely had, in terms of the announcements, better pacing. I think because I think they spread out. They kicked off with The Witcher, which was like a really good like up to bat,
Yeah.
and they kind of the spread of announcements was a little more. The spread of announcements this year was more balanced. Last year's was really good kickoff, the cool stuff in the middle, and then they had two bangers kind of to close it out. This year was a little bit more spread out, but uh,
It was, yeah, because we were getting some pretty major announcements in the middle of the show, um,
mm,
and then we didn't really, not really much of a banger at the end. I guess we'll talk about that when we get
we can definitely
into
talk about that. Yeah,
when we draft the reveals and when we sort of go over the show as a whole.
yeah. Let me
Yeah,
get to.
I
Go ahead.
watched it with my partner. We had a great time. There were a couple reveals that I obviously really popped for, and we'll get into those. I think I've seen a lot of people who obviously didn't play Expedition 33 upset about the results of the show. Um, you know, I would invite them to play the game before immediately jumping on Ryan to complain, but we know they won't, so it's tough for them.
Yeah, they won't play the
Um,
game. They won't play most of these games. They
no,
just want the game that they
no,
like to win. When GTA
yeah,
6 inevitably does not win Game of the Year next year, if it comes out next year, because that, despite being like historically, those games don't win Game of the Year. Like that's just not the like. Sure,
a GTA
yeah,
6.
the GTA 6s, the the Call of Duties, like even if the campaign's good, like there's a lot of other things that go into judging a game like that. And we can talk again. Apparently, I mean, people didn't listen to our talk about the Game Awards where we talked about the pre-Game Award stuff and how we have experience voting in the Game Awards, so we can lean into some experience talking about the voting process a bit, because apparently that's a controversy now because people don't know how award shows work.
Mhm.
But we'll talk about that again, I guess, because we need to rehash it.
But
Like,
us the fans, our vote matters the most. It doesn't because
hey, guess
like
what?
we talked
The
about
golden
earlier, so
joysticks are
many of
right
you
there.
aren't. Yeah.
That one is a fan voted show.
And guess which game won most of the
Yeah,
awards?
again, like that is a fan voted show, but no one watches that because everybody watches the Game Awards for the announcements for the most part. Like, yes, it is a big,
Yes.
like the reason the Game Awards is as big as it is because not only is it a celebration of the industry, but it has the most eyes, and because it has the most eyes, that's where all the big announcements are in terms of stuff. Like the Golden Joystick might have like hey, news about some updates for some games that were included or some stuff like that, but you're not
Yeah.
getting like Mega Man coming back at that. That's not where those announcements
Right.
happen. So let's get into we'll quickly recap like all the winners here. We're just gonna go through bottom to top, talking about all the award winners. Starting with content creator of the year, that was Moist Critical. Best esports team, Team Vitality. We both called that, Scott. I'll try and go off the top of my head if we called it when we went
Um,
through.
not only did we call that, but they've also like not they've also today, mere hours ago, won the second of the two Counter-Strike majors
Yeah,
for this year. So
yeah,
really just kind of if they had if you like definitely definitively without a question now the best esports team of the year.
yeah.
Um
Best
well
esports athlete, Chovy won. I think we both picked Zywoo. Uh, best
No, I
esport.
didn't.
Oh,
I said it wasn't going to be Zywoo
mm.
because he plays for Vitality, and Vitality as a team is too good
Oh, right. You're
that
right.
like
You did say
his
that.
as great as he is, and he's still really great. He kind of gets lost in just how good the overall team was. I thought it would be Brock from the Energy Valorant team, but
Gotcha.
Chovy winning, even though it's so weird because of the timing that T1 wasn't in Team of the Year, that Faker's not on this list because like they really should have been the ones winning these
Yeah,
winning these awards. And you know, again, fitting that we're talking about this today on the day of the Counter Strike Major, like the best day of like you know the Counter Strike calendar. Counter Strike 2 won the
esports.
esports game of the
Yep.
year. And if I realized they hadn't done since 2015, which was the first time they had esports game of the year.
That's what. Well, I mean, it's been back and forth between League and Valorant the entire time, hasn't
It's
it?
been well, it was Counter Strike Go in 2015. Then it was like Overwatch for 3 years in
Right.
a row.
Yeah. Which is
Then League of
wild.
Legends for 2 years, Valorant for 2 straight years, and then since then it's been League again, and then Counter Strike finally kind of
Yeah.
retook its throne.
Wild that Overwatch won esports game of the year 3 years in a row. That's crazy. I know.
And
Now
remember, Overwatch also won Game of the
it did.
Year,
It did win
like
game of the
not
year.
even just esports. It was also the Game of the Year. We forget.
I don't think that. I think it deserved it at least 1 year for the esports section, and I know a bunch of kind of I don't want to say mainstream people, but like the non esports games writers were pretty into Overwatch League, so like I'm not surprised it won at least one of
Yeah.
those years. But
Um,
it wasn't super high quality the entire time.
because they wanted to have that mainstream appeal. So it was like, oh, I live in this
Mm,
city. I'm gonna root for this Overwatch team because I
yeah,
know what Overwatch is and I like it, and now I have a team that I can root for. Um, no Chicago team though. Blizzard. That was your
yeah.
biggest mistake. That was your biggest mistake.
Well,
You
technically, it
fucked
wasn't.
up.
They weren't the ones that decided that. They got paid. Like the franchises decided that,
Yeah,
didn't they?
how did this franchise decided that?
I'm pretty sure, but we'll get Liz on to talk about that at some point.
That's true. We'll
We'll
get
get Liz on and talk about Overwatch
yes.
for an episode at some point. But moving on, player's voice was Wuthering Waves. This is where a bunch of people were confused about how this category works. This is the fully fan voted category, which has rounds of voting. Voting
Yes.
will open up initially when the for all categories, because each category did have a percentage based on fan vote. It was just heavily weighed towards the panel itself. But the player's voice is the one that has multiple rounds of voting to get to the top five uh, games in terms of people voting in. Noticeably, our creator's not here. So that's
Hmm.
funny considering the
Wait, all these streamers told me that that was the game that gamers really liked and that they were gonna vote for it.
yeah, yeah, and then they didn't show up,
But
just
why?
like all
But
these people who
wait,
didn't play these games.
so those streamers were lying? That can't be right. They must have counted something wrong.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk more about
Well,
rigged
I'll
votes
get
and
Jeff on
stuff.
I'll get Jeff on the phone.
Yep.
We'll get this
Get a conference call going. Jeff, Shroud,
Jeff.
all
Yep.
that stuff.
Miss Piggy.
But yeah, Wuthering Waves won, and this is another controversial point because this has been happening for the past several years, where like the Genshins, the Wuthering Waves, these like
Mhm.
live service games, basically offer in-game rewards to people to go vote, and then more rewards if they win. So not necessarily like breaking the system, but it's heavily favored towards those games because they
Yeah,
have like these movements behind them. So not surprised to see
sure.
Wuwa won. No, out of all the gotcha games, that is the gotcha game I liked the most when I played it because I reviewed
Mm,
Genshin when that first came out. I played a little bit of like Honkai Star Rail. I've never touched Endless Zone Zero, and then I played Wuwa back when we had to for
mhm.
work. And
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I actually enjoyed playing it, not covering it, but I enjoyed playing it because the combat's very like Devil May Cry esque, like very
Yeah.
action game inspired, which was, in my opinion, I like that better than what Genshin does. But yeah, so
I think
Wuwa
that was
won there.
one of the ones that's one of the ones I tried to avoid,
I tried to,
um,
and then I got told,
while
yeah,
working.
I got told, hey,
Yeah, and then
you
you
need
get
to hop
told,
on
"Hey,
these games because we need traffic, and I was like, hey, uh,
we need to get your numbers up."
you got
Hop
nine.
on.
You got 10 other people, including a bunch of freelancers, fighting for like 7 articles that are going to do numbers here. That's not worth my time. Uh,
I can't believe that that strategy didn't work.
Yeah, yeah. Most anticipated game, to no one's surprised, GTA.
Yeah.
Obviously, we couldn't vote on Player's Voice when we did our preview because the category was the open nomination.
Yeah.
Best adaptation,
I'm glad Dispatch made the
Dispatch.
final 5.
Yeah, it did,
Dispatch rules.
and I wish that would have won because it obviously didn't win anything else because it was only up for one other award. But I love Dispatch.
He was like debut indie, yeah.
Yes. Best
Best
adaptation. I think
adaptation.
both of us picked a Minecraft movie, and Last of Us 2 season 2 won.
Yeah, I had no idea
Which
who was gonna win
all
this. Last of Us
these,
Season 2.
like, I haven't seen Splinter Cell. I should watch the Splinter Cell show because I've heard good things. But all of
Mm,
these are like mid to bad, except for the Splinter Cell
yeah.
one, according to most people. I won't say The Last
But
of
it's
Us
just not
season
very
two.
popular.
The Last of Us season 2 isn't bad. I can't speak to it. I haven't watched it. I don't really like The Last of Us that much in terms of like I played the games and liked the games. That's just not my favorite, my preferred kind of media. Like the zombie post-apocalyptic stuff, I'm not huge into that. So I didn't really. I've only watched a little bit of. I've only watched season 1. Season 2, I heard okay things about, but so I'm not surprised it won. It was between that and Minecraft probably, and the critical portion of a lot of people probably voted for The
Yeah.
Last of Us, so it makes sense. Innovation and accessibility, which is kind of like one of those weird categories where it's just based on a bunch of like it's based on settings and kind of like the openness of the game towards people that need the or towards people with disabilities or people with like specific things that can help them enjoy games more. Doom the Dark Ages won. Best multiplayer game. Arc Raiders did win best multiplayer game. So it did win that. I think we both picked that to
Mhm.
win. We wanted Peak to
Uh,
win, but I think we both picked
we
Arc
wanted Peak
Raiders.
to win. I thought Battlefield 6
Oh yeah,
also could have gotten, like, a
yeah.
wave of people, but I think the people who are still playing Battlefield 6, like, I feel like there's a portion of the Arc Raiders community that was upset that they were not that genuinely was upset they were not nominated for more things, even though why would they be? And so I think also it is, it is fun, and I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
people get into it.
No. Uh
Um, Battlefield 6, I feel like all the people who are playing Battlefield 6 are just busy playing Battlefield 6 and don't care
yeah,
about
they
the
don't. They're the normal
awards.
they're the gun and ball people. Like that's
Yeah,
the conversation.
they
We
just
can
got
have
home from
this.
work, they pull it up on the
Mhm.
console, they've got their music playing, they got a podcast in, and they're just running and gunning.
Yeah, and we can have like a little bit of conversation here because we talk. I joked about it when I sent you that message yesterday, where it's like COD's already 50% off. Like they marked COD down 50% already for some of these sales, these holiday sales. It's been out for
Yeah,
less than 30 days. This game,
well,
like,
we've had
go ahead, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say between that and Call of Duty having to come out and say we're not gonna do
Mm-hmm.
repeat installments of the same series anymore, they are pretty much openly admitting
The writing's on the
they can
wall.
say
Yeah,
otherwise, but they're admitting that it didn't really, um,
it didn't hit any marks. I don't think it hit any of their
no, it
marks.
didn't.
My thought process here is Arc Raiders is the not only the new hit multiplayer game in terms of like general appeal, So a lot of people that don't play regular shooters are playing arc raiders because of like the elements of like communication and stuff like that. But a bunch of the Call of Duty people and like the people that don't really care about these shows except for the announcements and watch them later, like my cousins and stuff,
Mhm.
are playing Battlefield 6 and enjoying Battlefield 6. So, are not surprised
Yeah,
Arc Raiders won here because I think they think
it's
that's the
fun.
one that has the more mass appeal. Best
Yeah.
sports and racing game, Mario Kart
I
World.
think
We said,
eventually
yeah. What's up?
I think eventually I am gonna try Arc Raiders. I feel like it's just been kind of like in the background, like, do I try this? Do I give it a try?
Yeah,
I see like just a couple people I know whose words I like and whose writing I like being like getting into it. So it's like maybe I think this could be like final like these last 2 weeks of December because like this next week for me like work wise is gonna be a little busy, but then it should be kind of empty after that or at least kind of quiet. Maybe that's Arc Raiders time. Maybe I pull the trigger on it. I think I'll
that,
do it.
I mean, I think you'll like it regardless because you're pretty open to trying new shooters.
I
So,
am.
and
I
we'll
am.
get into that later
Especially
too.
if I can get someone to play with me.
Yeah, there's a lot of I mean, I think, dude, I don't think anybody in the server we play rivals in plays already. So there, that doesn't seem like,
Yeah, but I think I think my regular Counter Strike Discord,
yeah, there's
who
probably
I do the
people in
10
there.
mans with. I think there's some Arc Raiders people in there that I can get to play.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
best sports racing game. Mario Kart World. Not surprising.
No, it was
I
between that
thought
and Sonic,
I
I
thought
think.
I was kind of I was pulling for rematch, but I knew it wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
I feel like rematch got really popular when it came out. I think it kind of cooled off a little just
It cooled off a
because
lot pretty quickly. Like
it
it
just
didn't have the legs.
yeah,
So
low stamina had to be subbed out in the 60th minute.
yeah, I think if this was going to be like a critical thing, it was between Mario Kart World and Rematch, and I think Rematch had like the kind of the artistic side of things, but Mario Kart World is just so big, and there's so much good about that game. It's kind of between that and Sonic, even though it was a really good game, probably just fell short of like a lot of people either
Hmm.
playing it or liking it less than Mario Kart World because it's more technical. Because yes, the game has a lot going for it, but it has a lot more depth, but that's both to its benefit and detriment.
Mm.
Um, and I think a lot of people like the simplicity of the Mario Kart style, plus all the new stages and the music and stuff a little bit more. So, best sim and strategy game, one of my least favorite categories in this award show, just because of how dumb it's like. They need to branch out and add more categories, both because that would solve a lot of issues in terms of like stacking categories up, but also just
Hmm.
because this makes no sense. Final Fantasy
Yeah,
Tactics won, the Evilise Chronicles, the remake one. It should have won. But
sure.
again, most of these games. I mean, I haven't played the Alters. I know a lot of people liked it. Again, that's another game that had a little bit of AI controversy in it too, just because of like
Mm.
some assets. But
Again, more of like a survival game with like a bit like
exactly,
than a
yeah,
strategy game. Final Fantasy Tactics is more like an RPG than like a
yeah.
sim
Like,
strategy game. This is a weird
well, this
category.
category is gonna have next year. It's gonna have Fire Emblem in it, and it's like Fire Emblem is a strategy game, yeah, but it's not a sim game. Like, it's not a sim. Like
Mhm.
the category is too broad. Like, if you want
Mm. Yeah.
more representation, there needs to be more categories for like you need to have a sim strategy or a sim category, a strategy category, because you're giving 5 spots, like 4 to 6 spots in some of these categories to a wide berth of games. So a lot of stuff's just not going to
Mhm.
get recognized on this. Um, Best family game, Donkey Kong Bonanza one. Not really shocked
Yeah.
there. It was
No, that
probably going to
makes
be
sense.
that or Mario
It
Kart
wasn't
World.
gonna win anything else, so I think people wanted to get
Exactly.
I think they wanted to give him the award there.
Yep. Best fighting game, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. The only actually fully released fighting game on this list that isn't a remake or an update. Although 2XKO will be out.
Win by technicality.
Yeah, and then 2XKO will announce Caitlin's coming to the game, and also it's going to launch on consoles at the end of January.
Yes.
So that'll be its full release, technically, I suppose. Best role playing game, Expedition 33. Best action adventure game, Silk Song. Best action game, Hades 2. Best VR AR game, The Midnight Walk. Best mobile game, Uma Musume. Uh,
Hell yeah.
Best community support, Baldur's Gate 3. Best
I
ongoing
gotta
game. Oh,
say,
go ahead.
she really butchered
Oh
the
my gosh,
pronunciation
it
of Umama Su.
Uma Musume, and then she made a joke about I need to go play more Uma Musume, and I'm like, I've said to you, did not.
Umama.
The script writers did you dirty.
The
Like,
min max, one of the girls on min max was screaming at her, just livid.
was it Sarah?
Um, I think so.
It was
I think so.
probably
I had to go
Sarah.
back and look. Just
Uh,
lost her mind.
yeah, best ongoing game, No Man's Sky, and then we got the Claire, almost a full Claire sweep after that up on this list, where it's like
Mhm.
best debut indie game, best independent game, both Expedition 33, Games for Impact, South the Midnight one, which is dope, and they also announced console port for
Yep.
you've got it's going to PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch 2, so it'll be on there. Best performance, Jennifer English, as I can never pronounce that name, even though I played the game. Mael, is it Mael? Mael? I think,
Maya.
yeah, Mael. I can never remember the
Yep.
pronunciation, but for Expedition 33, obviously three different people were nominated for Expedition 33 in that category.
Yep.
Erica Ishii during this category was a vibe, just straight up munching on popcorn and having a great
Yeah.
time. So shout out. Battlefield
Yeah.
6 did win audio design, which you called. I said it was going to be Death
Yeah.
Stranding
I
or
No, I
the
think
Silent
I
Hill.
think I think that's actually as well earned. I think just the sounds and the
Mm.
battlefield sounds and in the actual sounds of the battlefield in the game itself are really really special and really keep you engrossed. And I thought, yeah, I thought that that made sense.
Yep. And then the last five are all Expedition 33. We got best score in music, best art direction, best narrative, best game direction, and game of the year. So out
Yeah.
of 13 categories that it was nominated for, it won 9. So a record
Yeah. Both
number of
both records.
nominations. Yeah, both records for the show. So with that in mind, I do want to highlight, because we're not going to get we'll talk a little bit about like the backlash and stuff after we do our little fun thing that we want to do. But I do want to say this is not unheard of to happen at award shows. Like, people that are acting like this doesn't happen in other industries are just wrong and are like trying to revise history a little bit. Like, it's not a super common thing, and it shouldn't be a super common thing. Like, most years you're not going to have a game or a movie or a show or something like that, or an album that just is so like, and I'm not even going to say like leaps and bounds ahead of like its competition, because it's not like Expedition 33 is like that much better than like a Hades 2 or a Silk Song or like a Donkey Kong
Hmm.
Bonanza or something, and it all depends on your taste. Like, that's the same thing. Not everybody's gonna like the Titanic or like Ben Hur. Like, the
Hmm.
it's to your taste, but you're not gonna sit here and say like, oh yeah, I could never play Hollow Knight or I could never play Hades 2 or Donkey Kong because Expedition 33 is just that much better. Like, that's not the conversation here. The conversation is
Yeah.
like, what okay, before we get into the draft, let's talk a little bit about the actual voting process, because I've seen a lot of people talk about not even just like people online, like people on streams that I watch, because I watched some reactions and stuff just to see like what people actually pop for and everything, and I was like, okay, people clearly don't understand how these are like the voting works, or they don't understand how award shows work. We Scott and I, for reference and clarity here, we voted, and we talked about this a little bit on our preview show for our preview episode for this. We voted on the Game Awards for 3 years, I think. I think it was
Yeah.
like
At least
2020,
3 years. Yeah, at least 3 years.
2021 through
2021,
through
22, 23. Yeah.
24. Yeah, yeah, no, 23. Yeah, 23. So we voted on the Game Awards for 3 years. Now, we only voted for the competitive categories, and like a few others. We voted for like 5 categories out of like the bunch. So, but the process is the same across the board. The Game Awards reaches out to the publication, and now I will say, this does not. We can't speak to how each publication runs their part of doing the voting. But for us at Dot, we would get the categories we were voting for. The editors would let everybody know, and they would ask everybody on staff to submit a list of 3 to 5 games, a list of 3 to 5 players, a list of 3 to 5, whatever the category was. We'd submit our 3 to 5 choices. Then they'd pull all those together, find out which one got the most consecutive, like collective votes, and that would be the choice. That is how it works. Not only for publications, but that's how the Game Awards voting system works. Like, we're not in a room with the other people voting. We're not in like the most conversation that happens around a vote is internally at the publication. Those are the only people that talk.
Yeah.
So like an editor, like our editor, one of our editors, Bink, would reach out to me and ask, "Hey, what is a good representation for like these games outside of like League and like COD?" Because those are like, because he would get he knows the names, but he wants some context to maybe put down another name. So he goes out and asks about like extra representation. Because obviously fighting games were super underrepresented at Dot, because it was like me and like a couple other people that would ever vote for a fighting game person in those cases. But so like at an IGN, I'm sure they probably have a different setup, because they'll talk to like okay, hey, if you like, they probably have like a more strict like who can give input, essentially. Like they probably have more discussions about it, because it's a much bigger deal for them, because they're doing every category. So but no one is colluding. Like GameSpot's not calling IGN or VGC
Yeah.
and talking like, "Hey, let's all vote Claire Obscure Expedition 33 as Game of the
Yeah.
Year, so we can heavily weigh this." And that's not how it happens. It's just everybody puts their
What
votes
would
in.
even what would
Like
even what do they even think the benefit of that is? Like
it's the
what
same.
would
These are the same
what do they
people
think
who
the reason is
it's the same people who think we get
for us
paid for reviews. Like we get paid to cover games. Like
to
I will never understand, like the people that say that, like where they're coming from. I wish I could like sit them down face to face and tell them I didn't want to do game reviews as part of my
Yeah.
job.
Not
Like
only did we not get paid for reviews, but they usually take more
we had
time,
to do them
and
on our
so
own
they'd be like
time.
yeah, because they're like, "Oh, well, we want you to do this review, but we don't wanna take it away from your quotas." So it's like, "Okay, so I have to do this on my own time," is what you're saying.
Yeah,
That's
you
that's
basically
why
have to play
same
the
thing. It's
game.
why I, like, never volunteered for reviews, because 'cause I'm like, I have to do other stuff, and I'm not trying to, like
Yeah, detract
I'm
from
not
you.
trying
You
to
have
take
to
it.
do that on top of your regular work. Like it's additive, and that's not the case at other publications. Like every publication runs it differently, especially if they hire a freelancer to do it. But like the whole point here is we're not getting paid for reviews, and no one is colluding on the Game Awards, because there's no point in it happening. Like no one's getting paid. Like I saw a bunch of people saying if Donkey Kong Bonanza wins, the Nintendo paid people. That's not how it works, and no, they're not going to do that, because what if they get found out? If Nintendo got caught paying people to vote for Donkey Kong Bonanza for Game of the Year, do you know what kind of backlash they'd face for that, and how stupid it would look?
Can I ask a question?
Go right
If
ahead.
that was a real thing, if that was this was a real thing that was happening, and they got caught paying people to give Bonanza good reviews, how many people would actually care?
All the Nintendo
Like,
haters and
or would the losers on Twitter just be upset for a week and then move on, or move on to the next
well,
thing?
oh, they'd get upset for a week and move on, and then they'd use it as a talking point whenever it was beneficial to whatever they were talking about. The people that would be most upset are people in the review industry because that
Yeah,
that compromises
it's
our craft.
oh, I was gonna say it's the meme. What, you guys are getting paid?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, yeah. Not only that, like you got Nintendo money, but also like it
You know,
compromises the craft.
damn.
Like it would compromise the craft, and it
Yeah,
would lead
yeah.
to that being used forever and forever and forever as an example. And
Any
any
review that someone doesn't like, they're gonna call
I'll be
that. They would
paid
call it up that example.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, if you think that people are
Bad.
colluding,
And if it was a bad review, they'd be like, "Oh, you should have paid them. Should have paid them to say some say basically nice things about the game."
yeah. So, moral of the story here is if you think like the panel for the Game Awards is colluding with each other to get a game to win all these awards, you're stupid. I'm not apologizing for just straight up calling you stupid. That's not how award shows work. There are much more corrupt award shows you can get mad at. Like
Yes.
this panel is very open. Like you know who's on the panel. There's a page on the Game Awards website that tells you which websites are voting. Like you can go look. And
It's all there.
not
You see
everybody
it
does
all.
that. I don't know.
I would say just to sort of tie up the discussion about winning these about the award winners themselves.
Yeah.
My only gripe with Claire Obscure's performance is I do think unironically that a game like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 probably should have won Best RPG,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
because while I think that Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is a better game overall, and obviously things like art direction and music and it being Game of the Year definitely deserve that award. I think as an RPG, it is technically an RPG, but I think Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a better RPG just because of the open world, because of the choices you can make, because of different play styles you can have. Whereas there's just not that much. I mean, there's different like, you can have different collections of companions, but that's mostly just for the combat. Like they're all still you can talk to them and have your relationships with them and everything. And there's not, it's a great story, but it's a pretty linear story. There's not a lot of like big choices except for like one at the end. I won't say anymore in case anyone still has to play that game. Um that's really my only one where I'm
I
like,
I think that falls
yeah,
back into
that should have gone Kingdom Come
I
Deliverance too.
think that falls
Everything
back
else
onto
though
the category
makes sense.
discussion though, because I think at that point you're discussing like, okay, cool. If that's your metric for what you think is a good RPG, then JRPGs are inherently going to be at a disadvantage for someone like you that would be voting because most JRPGs
Yes.
are that way. So, do we need to find a way to split the category into somehow
Mm,
the more open style Western RPG that is like the BioWare games and like a Kingdom Come
yeah.
Deliverance like style, and the JRPG inspired stuff like a Kingdom or like a
Mm,
Expedition 33, and like these other games, like the Final Fantasies and stuff, because that's an inherent clash in dynamics in terms of they're both RPGs, but they're both different styles of RPGs. So it's going to lean heavily on it's going to lean towards whatever the voters are voting for. Like it's a
right.
clash of like, okay, do they think Expedition 33 as a whole is a better game? They're probably going to lean that way, even though
Yeah.
for some people, Kingdom Comes Deliverance 2 is the more expansive kind of dynamic RPG in terms of the RPG mechanics.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's one of those kind of
I think it's a
discussions.
better RPG. I don't think it's a better game
Yeah,
overall, but as an RPG, if we're talking from that viewpoint,
yeah, and
I
that's
would
where we get
say
into like nuanced discussions in terms of like the categories and stuff. So I get
yeah.
it. I get where you're coming from there. All right, you wanna get into the new games announced, all the
I
fun we're
guess
gonna have
we
here.
should. It's funny. Like when you shoot into the Game Awards for the announcements, we decide no, we're going to start what people really want, the winner.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, most people show up to watch the all the new announcements, and obviously we didn't just
Yeah,
get new
and
announcements, we also got like some updates and stuff. So
yeah, a lot of
we
updates.
can quickly I'll quickly just like highlight some of the stuff we saw. We got a release date for
Mhm.
Pragmata, and a demo is available now for Pragmata, which I do really want to play because that game is looking better and better every time I see it.
Yeah.
We got a new story trailer for Saros. We got actual gameplay and like a story kind of like thing that a bunch of people thought was Cyberpunk Edge Runners because it was like right after they showed a cover of the song, but it's Screamer, that like anime racer game that we've seen a couple times but never really saw anything from at some of these award shows.
Hmm.
Um, like so, obviously like all the big live service games got some stuff. Invincible Versus showed Elemental, which I believe is voiced by a rapper whose song was used in the trailer, and it's a completely original character for the game, which is dope. We see a lot about like League of Batman. Marvel Rivals announced
Yep.
Deadpool, and then also Bloodstone will be
Yep.
coming to the
Coming.
game
That's
for
gonna be
season
the next
6.
season, fifth season, or
Yep.
six or
It's
five.
6. We're already at
Six is next. We're in
Rogue is
five. You're right,
5.5.
Trevor.
We're in 5.5 right now.
Yep.
So 6 will starting in January. I think it's January. Uh,
You brought up the new Diablo season, right? The season four. I think it's
No,
season
season 4
four for
Diablo is
Diablo
dropping
4.
later, but the Paladin is out now, so you can play as Paladin in the game right
I like
now.
Paladins. I may re-download just for that. We'll
So,
see.
but yeah, lot of and then Phantom Blade Zero finally got a release date. It's coming out next September, which is a good time for that game. A lot of games coming out in like the April timeframe next year already. But yeah. So okay? How do we want to run this, Scott? You want to do our draft first, and then just kind of discuss the rest of it? You want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to do like a fun way to go through the list of announcements. And also have a little something for people to like vote on in the comments for those watching. So essentially it's just gonna go one by one, back and forth. We're gonna pick the games that we're most excited about that were announced. And then we'll I mean obviously we're not just gonna rattle them off. We're gonna like spend a little bit of time
Yeah.
talking for each of them. So in terms of deciding who gets to go first, how about this? Give me odds or evens. What or did the total runtime according to Google for the Game Awards? Did it end at an even number or an odd number?
I'm gonna say odd.
Well, it just said three. Okay, hold on. According to Wikipedia, It was 3 hours and 7 minutes, so that counts as odds. That means you get to go first.
All right, now the question is, do I want to steal the one that I know you want as number one, or do I just take what I know that
Do
I
you want
want?
that game? Do you want that game?
I mean, yes, I do want that game. The question is it? And again, we'll talk about that later. But I think I do. I'm gonna snipe you. I'm gonna take. Well, to be fair, there's two. The other one you're gonna take anyways. You're gonna take one of the Star Wars games
Probably,
regardless. So I'll
probably.
take Fate of the Old Republic because that's the one I'm more excited for. Because I like Kotor. I also wanted to mention this because I saw it while we were doing news. Apparently, Aspire wanted to do the Lost DLC for Kotor 2, like they
Yes,
did for
I did see that.
the original, but because they couldn't legally give Disney the list of modders, like their full names, they couldn't release it, which sucks. But
Oh my god, it's such a dumb reason for it to
hey, guess
happen.
what? But Disney
But apparently
wants.
those remakes are still in the works, so
Oh no,
that's
I'm
good to
talking
hear.
about the old the re-releases that Aspire did.
Oh,
This would
okay.
have been the cut content, the lost.
Like the Switch version
Yeah,
is
the
the
Switch
res but
version.
yeah, okay.
So like
Okay.
the old cut content because I think they restored some DLC for the original Kotor, uh, and but they couldn't do the same thing for Kotor 2 because of the, this whole thing. But hey, Disney wants its stuff in AI, so I don't really care. But yeah, I'll
Yeah.
take Fate of the Old Republic. Obviously, Casey Hudson's back to lead the ship. I'll just mention it here because he spoke up. I'll bring it up. Let me grab it. The quote from this is from VGC, but this was Casey Hudson talking as in a Star Wars.com Q&A.
Yep.
Basically, they confirmed it's in the early stages of development. They have a team there already working on it, but they're hiring pretty heavily for the studio that's working on it. And then
Mhm.
Hudson did say that he denies that the game will not release until 2030. The games, don't worry.
Schreier speculated that this could be seen like at the earliest 2030, and
Yeah,
then obviously that got shared around, and so
mm,
Hudson responded directly on Twitter saying, he says it will come out before 2030. Quote, I'm not getting any
yeah.
younger.
Games will be out before then. I'm not getting any younger, so
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. That's cool. He has a good track record with. I will say good track record with most games because he did go back to BioWare and help lead Anthem, if memory
Yeah.
serves. So like not flawless, but he
I don't know
returning
if
to
he could
Star
have done
Wars.
anything to save that,
Yeah,
but yeah, this really is just. I mean, this is the perfect. I was thinking about doing this as a draft. This is the Bruno Caboclo of picks where it's like he's 2 years
2 years
away
away
from
from
being
being
two
2 years
years
away.
away.
Yeah, that's why
But
I was joking.
man,
Like, is it vaporware or
when
not?
when it comes and well, here's the thing. This definitely feels like it's getting a little bit more juice from Disney and from Lucasfilm Games than like take the Amy Hennig project for example,
Yeah,
where when that was announced, it got pretty much like a like a cookie cutter PR release on the Star Wars website. They gave him a whole like one on one interview, a chance to just sort of talk about everything that he wants to do. Um, and I encourage people to go to Star Wars website and read the interview with Casey. And what was cool about seeing this reveal, was, well, obviously because like as like what tipped me off was like, oh, is this the intergalactic? Is this like a different sci-fi game? Really, it was when the Jedi walked off the ship and
yeah,
they had the cape and the high bun. I was like, that's a Jedi. That is. But like the music and everything was giving it away. Um, and I remember seeing the kind of funny reactions that the thing they popped for the most when they saw that was
yeah.
Casey
Casey
Hudson's
Hudson.
name.
Yeah,
And just because this is the guy. This is the guy that made Knights of the Republic. This guy that made Mass Effect trilogy. Knights of the Republic is a game that I have constantly referred to as one of, if not my favorite game of all time. One of the best groups of companion characters. Introduced a lot of people to, essentially the D20 system that D&D uses. So going back and playing as an adult and being like, oh, this was the D20 system the whole time. Because as a kid, I was just stupid. And I was just like, oh, what does this mean? Like crit strike? Well,
yeah,
I didn't even know what I was doing at the time. Um, just great locations. One of the best plot twists um, in a game just ever. And obviously, the success of that is what led to, even though Bioware didn't do it, Knights of the Republic 2 was also great. And obviously, the Mass Effect trilogy. Casey really learned a lot of lessons from Coder 1 and used it to make one of the most impactful revered sci-fi gaming trilogies of all time. And so if he's in charge, I think it's going to be really excited. It's not a direct sequel, it's more of like a
It's spiritual
spiritual
success. They
successor,
said spiritual
which means
spiritual successor. Yeah.
they're not like explicitly tied to um the stories from 1 and 2. Though I wouldn't be upset about seeing some characters from 1 and 2, particularly a murderous assassin droid who is very quippy and funny. I'd pop it for HK-47 to come back, but yeah, I can't wait to learn more about it. It's gonna be a long time until we do, but yeah,
Yeah, this is going to be the
this was gonna be the number one pick from our
yeah.
draft.
But regardless, this is going to go number one, and I think this is in the same boat now as um. I mean, we still haven't seen the rumored. I guess. I mean, obviously, we saw Total War Warhammer 40K announced
Yeah,
here too, and so we don't. I can't remember. So we're getting Eclipse, which is the one by David Cage and
David
the
Cage.
Detroit Become Human team. Are we get
Mhm.
was it a Total War or a a former Fire Axis style?
There
Uh,
is a former Firaxis,
okay,
former
I
XCOM
couldn't remember
dev
which one it
working
was.
on, I believe it is called Zero Company.
I believe that is what it
I'd
was.
have
Yes,
yes, so
I couldn't
I
remember if
have
it
a
was a
little
Total
graphic
War
here.
style or like a Fire Axis XCOM style.
Yeah.
So
So
okay,
according to this Culture Crave graphic, these are the Star Wars games in the works. Fate of the Old Republic, a game that I'm going to draft next, so I won't say just now, just yet. Jedi 3 from Respawn, so the third game after Fallen Order and Survivor. Star Wars Zero Company, which I said is essentially it's Star Wars XCOM. It's by the XCOM people. It looks like XCOM. It's going to be Star Wars XCOM. I'm in. Say less. I'm getting it day one. Star Wars Eclipse, the David Cage project, which is still he take people were like, oh, is this going to get canceled? He takes his time with this. I mean,
I mean
there was
Detroit
like a
Become Human
6 year gap. There's
yeah,
like a 6 year
it
gap
was like a
between him
6 7 year
announcing
gap.
Detroit
Yeah,
and then it coming out. Knights of the Republic remake, which is apparently still in the works. And Amy Hennig's game, which also is supposedly still in the works, so we haven't really seen much of
I
it
wouldn't be surprised if we
since
see
that
the
was announced
KOTOR
back in
remake
2022.
in like 28
Mm.
or 20, maybe 27. I think that would be a good
I think
27,
27. I think
especially
yeah,
if they want to try and get Fate out in like 29. That'd be a good
Mhm.
spacer. So I could see
Yeah.
that being the
And
plan.
they'll have stuff dotting in between. They'll have
Obviously,
Jedi
yeah,
3, maybe like that's like a 28 game maybe. Um
yeah,
the Amy
I could
Hennig
see that.
one, I have no clue.
We haven't even
Um
seen anything from that, so I'm not like that and the
right.
the X Fire Axis one. We
We've
haven't
seen
seen
more
anything
from
from that.
oh, we saw something from Zero Company. I
I
thought we
thought we saw
did.
the trailer, like that teaser for Eclipse, and that's the only thing we've seen from those three.
Maybe it's just some leaked early images. I remember I
Maybe.
remember I wrote for Insider Gaming. But we're also going to see from the collection of Star Wars games, a game come out next year that I'm very excited about. This will be my first pick, and that is Star Wars Galactic Racer. The essentially not really, I guess we'll call it a spiritual successor to Episode One Racer, the
Mm.
beloved N64 game that has since been ported to Switches and PC and all that. Star Wars Galactic Racer. This is being developed by, I believe it's Fuse Studios is the name.
Yeah, so
Um,
it's a group of X like Need for Speed and like Burnout, like a bunch of
yeah,
X like racing developers from other franchises got together to make Fuse Studios, which I was confused about. I popped for the name Fuse because there's an older studio named Fuse. I can't remember what they made, but I was like, oh, I remember that name,
mhm,
and I was like, but I don't think they made racing games. I was like,
yeah.
that's a weird call if that's, but that studio shut down, so my pop was completely unnecessary.
It's very much kind of this feels like a match made in heaven. Burnout Paradise, one of my favorite racing games. I mean, Episode One Racer is one of the few games I played the most as N64. Um, to essentially a new brand new Star Wars racer with destructive physics, with the iconic locations, with next gen graphics. It's really everything that I want, and a lot of stuff that I was reading from the Steam page um, for Galactic Racer really interested me in terms of like what else we're getting out of this game other than just it being a racing game. So just a few things I wanted to bring up. There is going to be so obviously because there was a big Star Destroyer. This is right after the Empire's collapse. Takes place in the Outer Rim because of course that's where all the dangerous shit
Yeah,
takes place.
they mentioned Jakku
Um,
in the
yep.
trailer. There's a Jakku, and then there's
Um,
like a one that everybody thought was Hoth, but it's not Hoth.
right. I don't think it is. Oh, it's Ando Prime,
Yeah,
which is a location from Episode One Racer. That's where the frozen courses were. Ando Prime. Um, God, those were some gnarly courses because you get on the ice and you just slide and you just pray you don't slam into rocks. So hell yeah, I'm glad that they bring back iconic location for the episode one racer. There's gonna have this thing called the Galactic League. It's where like syndicates can sponsor pilots. So you're gonna have syndicates like I've been playing more Star Wars Outlaws. You're gonna have the Pikes. You're gonna have Crimson Dawn. You're gonna have the Huts. You're going to have maybe the Ashiga clan, just maybe just one of like old you know empire officials trying to bankroll their way back into like
prominence in some
forming
way. Yeah,
what could eventually be the first order by just sponsoring illegal races. You never know. There's going to be a looks like there's going to be a campaign, like a single player campaign, where you take on the character Shade, a lone racer chasing revenge and glory. There's going to be PvP. It's going to be online play because of course you want to have a multiplayer aspect to this. Um, One thing that interested me is they said strategic PvP grudge matches where reputation rides with you. And so if there's little systems in this game where it's like, oh, this is like there's a top racer in your game, maybe your syndicate tells you, hey, like if you don't win, that's fine. But if you can take this guy out, maybe you get like a bonus or you get like a new part for your things like that. I think I'm really excited to see what kind of features are in this game. I mean, the racing itself, I'm probably going to be sold. If it's the burnout people doing Star Wars
that's the
racing,
thing I'm least concerned about.
I'm in.
If the team has the pedigree that they're talking about.
The gameplay, yeah, the gameplay is the least thing I'm concerned about. It's the aspects and the features around it.
Yeah, the
Is it going to
content.
keep
Yeah,
players coming in? Is it going to keep people coming back? Is it going to be a single player campaign that's worth replaying or worth playing and worth replaying? But I mean, I was in shock when I saw this.
yeah, that
This
was
was like
crazy.
this. I was. You can tell it's my girlfriend. I was freaking out about this. So this is a big one. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I'll kind of bounce completely away from that and kind of towards the smaller side of things because the next one I'm going to take Bradley the Badger, which is something we saw in the pre-show. It is a
I I had this next on my list.
yeah, we're kind of in
This
sync
game.
here. So this is a game by a new studio called Day for Night. I'm pretty sure they're a new studio. Let me double check that. Yeah, new studio. It's founded by a bunch of like developers from like a bunch of former big studios, including like some people that worked on like some GTA's and some stuff like that. The big name here that I was interested in here though is that the where is it? It's the director of Mario plus Rabbids. This is his David, I believe it's Soliani is working
Hmm.
on this. And so that once they said that, I was like, okay, I'm interested because he's very passionate and does like a bunch of really cool creative stuff that I like. So, but this game, the main character Bradley is a badger that is essentially finds out about like he's a normal platform mascot platformer character who finds out that he's in a video game. He gets game developer powers over the course of going through all of these different levels based on like they're going to be parody levels based on other IP like Cyberpunk and
Bloodborne, The Last of
Bloodborne,
Us.
yeah,
Yep.
Last of Us, stuff like that. And the abilities are called kits, and they're basically like various development tools that people would use during
Yeah.
development. So like he can become objects. He can scale those objects to be bigger or smaller. He can pull things out of various environments. It's going to be looks very interesting on
Yeah.
that front. But it is literally on the Steam page, which doesn't give a date, but some people have apparently said that it might launch next year, which would be crazy if it did. I don't know how long they've been working on this. I mean, that wouldn't be too surprising,
It
considering
wouldn't be crazy.
I don't remember when Soliani and his little group left Ubisoft post Rabbids, but
Hmm.
the last Rabbids game was like 2021, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Hmm.
But yeah, they literally describe it as a love letter to games. An action adventure that blends exploration, traversal, and mind-bending freeform puzzles, all brought to life through a satirical narrative that features movements in live action or moments in live action. Uh, so like this game, like the trailer was pretty well paced. Obviously it gives the vibes of like a um like like a rare
Yeah.
like the throwback to the rare stuff in terms of like how it's portraying itself. It's got a lot of that conquer energy put into like more of like a banjo skin almost in terms of like kind of what they're going for. I'm very interested to see how they deliver on this because the concept, we really haven't seen something like this before since a conquer in terms of like
Yeah.
an aware character, but this is going a level beyond that. Like they're going to be become aware of like what's happening outside the game, and I really like the idea of the mechanics. So I'm super interested to see where this goes. And it was definitely the standout of the pre-show and like most of the early show.
Yeah. And the other director working on this and the head of this new studio is also Christian Cantamessa. Really, really uh big name in a lot of really successful games. Lead designer and writer for Red Dead Redemption.
Mm. That's what
Very
they
good.
titled that. It was
Um
he was the headliner, and then they also mentioned Zoliani before the trailer rolled. Yeah.
yeah. Cinematics director and did story for both Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, two of my favorites. And up until prior to its cancellation, was working on the Perfect Dark game. Um,
That checks
and
out.
so
That
that's what
makes sense.
that's what he was doing up until, I believe, until as recently as December 2020. He was working on it. He was working on the story. I don't know exactly when he left, but this new studio that he and Soliani founded was back in October of last year.
Okay, so this is
So
not a
they've only
next year
been,
game. This
yeah, because that's when they announced that it was being founded. So I would say
is
early 20.
probably this is
I would say
probably
2027. This is
yeah.
2027 game.
This is at least a 2027
But
game. Hey,
but what I'm looking
this is one
forward
of
to
those that
too is,
I'm. This
yeah,
is a complete surprise. We had no idea it was coming, and I'm willing to wait. Like this looks dope. So I would not be surprised if we hear Grant Kirkhope doing the music for this either. By the way, he already has
yeah,
that
this is
relationship
a,
with Soliani.
yeah, that's a good one. After Star Wars. That was pretty much my first one as well.
Well, I'm
So
glad I can steal two
uh,
of your picks then.
you did.
All right,
Because now it's harder. Now
is
there's
it?
essentially there's two I'm deciding between. Both are very good.
My list goes deep,
One,
Scott. I'm about to be the 2014 Spurs with
oh
this
oh, there's a
list.
lot of there's a lot of games to renounce, but in terms of like what I want first,
Yeah.
um, I in that case, because I missed out on one excellent turn-based RPG, I guess I'm gonna have to go with the other one, even if it grows some people out. And I'm gonna take Divinity here. So, for those who weren't aware, the statue in the desert. This actually got confirmed a little before the Game Awards. Someone looked up
People broke it down, the
the
structure and stuff and everything. Yeah, and found out that it was
well,
kind of like
because
the
the
logo.
image appeared on a copyright for Divinity,
Oh,
and
okay.
so
Didn't know that.
people put that together. I it was funny because my girlfriend's a big Baldur's Gate fan, and so I read that, and then I called her, or she called me, and I was like, "Hey, I know what it is." She's like, don't you fucking tell me." She's like, "Don't tell me." um, but yeah, and so that it was revealed with like first like a live action portion of the show. They had a bunch of like medieval like generic fantasy villagers come in, and then like three of them get taken up to the sky on some very clear wires that everyone could very clearly
Yeah,
see.
we saw the wires a couple
And
times throughout the
then
show.
they showed a trailer, which is a bit of a talking point because it apparently grossed a lot of people out,
Yeah, it
and
was very
understandably
heavy.
so. It was very heavy with like some
Blood, some
just some
puke, a lot of like
essentially a
body
little a
horror.
little bit of all a little bit of all the seven sins.
Yeah, the
Little
no
gluttony,
nos.
little lust, little just ugh, it's a lot. And with really fun, happy village medieval music in the background. And eventually they show the symbol, and then the Larian Studios logo, which got a huge pop, and then Divinity. And the name Divinity is interesting because it's not Divinity Original Sin 3,
Yeah.
it's just Divinity, which seems like this is going to be, and they have explicitly said this is going to be their biggest game yet. And
So
Baldur's Gate 3 was
it was huge.
fucking big.
I think so. From
This,
what I've heard, like post that announcement, Divinity: Original Sin is technically a sequel to the main Divinity timeline in terms of how it's structured. So my guess would be this is kind of their return to form to try and get all the Baldur's Gate 3 people into Divinity. They're going to
Yeah.
try and make it like a not a standalone thing, but like a good
Mhm.
jumping on point without having to tie it to everything else that's existed beyond being like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
here's like some extra stuff that we have from this other thing. So we'll see. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good
Their
pick. I
biggest,
mean,
most ambitious, biggest, most their big Sven Viking said, their biggest, most ambitious RPG yet. Even they said explicitly it's going to be larger than Baldur's Gate 3. Um,
they've probably been
yeah,
working
this
on
is
this
going to
because
be.
I think they were working on this before Baldur's Gate 3 and then they pivoted to Baldur's Gate 3 or something along those lines. So this has been in the works for a while
Um,
already.
Despite our long history, um, let's see. There aren't currently any plans for a new Divinity Original
Yeah.
Sin 3 game. Sven said, despite our long history with the series, this is our first game entitled Divinity, which is technically true. The first one was Divine Divinity, then it was Divinity something, then Divinity 2, and then Original Sin and Original Sin 2, and then this is just going to be Divinity. Um,
I can't wait
we're
to
ready
see
to
someone
bring
break down this
ready. We're
timeline.
ready to bring everything we've done previously into one place. This is from Ted Litchfield at PC Gamer, just quoting Sven. We're ready to bring everything we've done previously into one place. This marks the beginning of something with more breadth, depth, and intimacy than anything we've created before. We've been building toward this moment ever since we took our fate into our own hands. This is Divinity we've always wanted to make, and you're going to have loads of fun with it.
Yeah, this was
No
definitely in the
release
works
date or
before
window
Baldur's
yet.
Gate then. Yep.
No release date or window. I would say 2027 at the earliest,
They
but
they could do the same thing with Baldur's Gate. They did early access like well ahead once they had like
yeah,
the a
I still
playable
think we
full.
I still think we have, especially because they're still giving out new content for Baldur's Gate 3 and keeping that supported. I think they wouldn't be doing that unless um I don't think they would have to keep doing that. I mean, they're also one of the most revered and highly respected devs that have like they're one of the few devs that don't have any like that have absolutely like they burned none of their good faith. Like
Yeah.
they're just held really in really high standing. So maybe they just want to keep doing that. But I feel like if they're going to continue supporting Baldur's Gate 3 with more stuff, it's probably because they have nothing to show immediately. So
Yeah, I mean
I would say on the safe side, it's probably going to be a little bit more time.
it's going to be 2027 at the earliest. That's probably even for like that's probably just even for early access. If they're doing full release 2028 at the earliest, I would think. But the Baldur's Gate point also kind of moot just because that's probably just a smaller team working on updates while everybody else is working on um this and everything else that comes with it. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. Good pick. I probably wasn't gonna pick that because like I like Baldur's Gate, but I never finished it. That's not my cup of tea when it comes to RPGs. Despite it being as good as
I
it
didn't
is,
even I loved it. I didn't even finish it just because it was so
it's
big.
so long, it's so big. There's so many choices.
And also I was also mostly playing it while working, and so
That's
I
true.
also had to write guides on it, so I couldn't like. Although funny
Fully
enough,
enjoy
they're
it.
like,
Yeah.
we have nothing for Act 3. It's like I'm not there yet. Please give me some time.
No, no,
I'm
no,
trying.
Scott. Speed run. Get to the point, and then you
No,
have to
I
have
don't want.
millions of saves to go back and forth so you can get all of the content.
Oh, I did. I was doing that so much for
Mm-hmm.
class builds and early quest guides and ugh, God, not a way to play the game or
Nope.
any game.
And fun fact: most editors don't understand how much effort that actually takes. So
A lot of effort. It
that's
really
fun.
is. I know we're complaining about getting to play games for a living and write about them, but it's it's
Not
harder
not
than it looks. I promise you.
not
I
fun,
promise you
friends.
it is.
Playing games for work not always fun. Little known fact.
Always fun. Little known fact.
You know what I don't have to make
What's your next
decisions
pick?
in, Scott?
Tell me.
When I just get to fly a plane.
Oh, interesting.
Ace Combat 8 Wings of Thief is my next pick. And boy, oh boy,
Okay.
I am so excited. I'm not like, I played some Ace Combats back on the PS2 on and off when we had, like, we rent them because I could get my dad to play them with me when I was younger because he could get into the storylines and stuff. I love Ace Combat 7. Like Ace Combat 7 is such a good game and so dope, has
Mhm.
amazing set pieces. Like the game looks beautiful, sounds amazing, has a fun story. Uh like it's just like a lot of dumb fun, and Ace Combat 8 looks like it's immediately going for more of that, and it's also going to have like even more of a story.
Yeah.
Looks like they're actually
I
like
didn't realize how much story
it
was an aspect of Ace Combat
so
games.
it's always weird. So every Ace Combat's different in terms of how they lay out the story and how deep they go. Seven goes pretty deep in terms of like you get really into like the lore of the world and like the different power grabs that are going on, like who you're working with. If I remember correctly, I haven't played it in several years, but the you're basically a person who like flying is like super heavily regulated and stuff, and but you fix up
Mhm.
your dad or your grandpa's old plane and fly up, and then you basically get like either shot down or captured and sent to prison, and then you become like a rebel pilot for like this faction.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. There's like some really good
Oh
character
yeah.
moments and everything. Obviously, the set pieces are the big thing, like the big
Yeah.
battles, like fighting these giant machines that shouldn't exist. In like all these different stories, like it's just a lot of fun, and I'm really excited that we're getting another Ace Combat. Obviously, 2026, I was not expecting that, so this has been in the works for a while, and
Yeah. That's
they're ready to go, which is dope because I have been craving like another uh game kind of like this. So I'm very excited for that. Um and like that got a pop from a lot of people. A lot of people didn't understand what they were looking at. They were like, "What is this? Like a COD or like a new shooter or something?" I was as soon as I heard the mention the UCUF, I believe is what they mentioned on the little boat when you're floating. They were floating in the ocean. I was like, "Oh, we're about to hit the planes." And yeah, so I'm excited for that. Super dope. I'm not. I'm surprised you didn't think I would take that just because there's not,
I didn't realize how big of a Ace Combat guy you were,
I
but
mean, I wouldn't call myself like a huge like Ace Combat guy in terms like compared to like a lot of people, but I really like seven and
mhm.
I'm gonna play the hell out of eight.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
So what you got, Scott?
nice. Well, in that case, if you're gonna leave this one open for me, I feel like this might be steal the draft. Uh, I'm taking. Okay, put Galactic Racer twice for me.
Oh, did I? I
I
wasn't paying
popped.
attention.
I just
Oh yeah,
noticed that
you're right.
now. Um, I'm taking Control Resonant. This seems easy. I mean
Yeah,
this.
I should have taken that before Ace Combat just because I know you wouldn't take Ace Combat, but
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
yeah. I probably would not take an Ace
that
Combat,
that was
but
my that was my flub there. But yeah, I get it.
but yeah, Control. The first Control was just such a unique, just incredible world building, like great story, great atmosphere. Um, and then for this one, they are so you're gonna play as the you're not playing as Jesse, you're playing as a brother.
Yep.
And then obviously if you played the story first one, you know their story. But it looks like in terms of gameplay, this is switching from using like a pistol and the powers you have to more of an action RPG kind of game.
It looks like Devil May Cry.
Melee
It looks like a Devil May
little
Cry
yeah,
a
what
little bit. Yeah.
a lot of people yes, I've seen a lot of people make the Devil May Cry comparisons. I mean, just any Remedy world, I just want to be in just because
Dude,
it is
just the
so
trailer
cool, it is
alone,
so
like
unique.
the oldest house, like just being broken open, and like the
Yeah,
effects of the paranormal, like affecting just like random things in the outside world, like just that
yeah,
alone as a concept, like is so good. I do want to highlight because there were a bunch of people that were like, "Oh, we're not playing as Jesse," or "Oh, we're not doing this or that," and I'm like, you can't, especially with how Alan Wake 2 was operating, because it's been a while since Control, and how with Alan Wake 2 between it, like this could be an ensemble. You might not just be there could be multiple playable characters. It's like they so don't strike out the possibility of multiple playable characters or like a new element of some kind being added in here. But yes, to everything you said, yes, I'm very excited for it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's really there's really not much more needs to be say what needs to be said. Remedy are really have really been cooking as of recently. Control was great. Alan Wake 2 obviously cleaned up at the Game Awards 2 years ago or last year, 2 years ago. Um, so yeah, this I was hearing Jeff Grubb talk about this. This could really be the game that kind of like really pushes them up into another level and has like a big breakout, like a big like because Control and Alan Wake 2 were both critically acclaimed. I don't know if they were massive commercial successes. I mean, I think they did fine, but they weren't like breaking open millions of copies like games
Yeah.
like Clair Obscur and Baldur's Gate and games like this. This could be the one that does that. I think just because of all the rapport they built up from their previous two games. So I'm excited. I can't wait to get my hands on this.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a jumping on point for a lot of people. just because Control won a lot of stuff. Alan Wake 2 won a lot of stuff, but I don't. Remedy's just in a weird place when it comes to like getting people on board. I guess like I don't know. It's a lot. Uh, it's a lot. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Now I have to pick, and I've got like three that are like on the top of my list right now. I'm trying to think which one you might take. I don't think you really care about any of these, so I'll go Gang of Dragon just because that's the one I'm most interested in seeing what it is. So that's obviously by Nagoshi, the person who made Yakuza, like they've originally created Yakuza for Sega and RGG. Over the years, he left a couple years back to found his own studio, and this is his first game. I don't remember the name of the actor, and I was trying to look it up. Um, the actor that is the main face of the character, the big bulky guy in that trailer, who's a very famous kind of like actor, big tough guy with a heart of gold style actor in a lot of like
Yeah.
a
Hmm.
lot of shows, but which I think ironically he's also going to be in Ace Combat 8. I think he's also in that. So interesting.
Can he fit in the plane?
Boy, that's going to be a big plane.
It's gonna be
But
a big
but
plane.
yeah, seeing his face and being like, okay, that's interesting to see him in a game. I wonder what this is, and then seeing Nagoshi Studios, which is I don't know if that's the first time we've seen the name of the studio either, but this is their first game since he left Sega. Um, I'm very interested to see how they differentiate this from Yakuza. Obviously, right away they differentiate it because this guy is bigger, like a more intimidating kind of presence. Then gives a completely different vibe than Kiryu did as a
Hmm.
character. He's gonna be very. I think they're gonna write him similarly, where he's gonna be a tough guy on the exterior, heart of gold, good guy that wants to do
Yeah.
right by the people he cares about, and like just generally good people. That's probably gonna be the same style. I wouldn't be surprised. But you see him using a sword. Use him like he's obviously built bigger and is
He's
seen
built.
boxing and doing a bunch of other stuff in like the shows he's in. So not going to be
Big
surprised when
boy.
we see the style switching of a Yakuza where he's using the different weapons and stuff. He's used a gun that he was driving a car, which doesn't happen in Yakuza very frequently. So there might be an element to that. Also, cool moment of the trailer, I believe, at the end of the trailer when they reveal the name, he is walking out of Kamurocho when they reveal the name, which Kamurocho is the famous area of Yakuza. So he's walking out of Kamurocho into something new, which is a very cool
Okay.
thematic kind of ending to the first trailer. I'm just really excited to see what this is. Yakuza's in a weird place right now. We don't really know where they're going post 8. Infinite Wealth. We don't know where they're going with that because that was like another kind of cap on Kiryu's story, which was
Hmm.
obviously Yakuza 0 through 6 was Kiryu's story. And then they started anew with 7 and 8, but Kiryu was still present in 8 and a little bit in 7, but we won't get into that. Kind of feels like they're floundering on kind of what they want to do, maybe a little bit. A bunch of the decisions they made in terms of like the remaster for 0, some of the decisions for Kwami 1 and 2, and especially for Kwami 3, I believe, which just came out or is coming out, where they have been silent about the main actor of the character that they're doing the extended DLC for three's remake for being a serial kind of sex pest ish person. Uh, like they remained silent on that and went through with it, even though they've previously stated that they're not like they're against all that kind of stuff. And kind of like what the Yakuza series ideals are very pro women, pro protecting women and vulnerable people. So just
Yes. Yeah.
like this has been very controversial time for Yakuza. So seeing this game come out and be Yakuza ish and very trying to play on Yakuza, but also clearly looking to establish itself as something different. I'm very interested to see where it goes.
Yeah. This one looked really fun to me. It looked like it. I mean, the Yakuza vibes were just immediate. And I think that's people want more of that, even if it doesn't necessarily come from the
Yeah,
same the
that we
same
don't need it to
the
come from the
same
same
team.
people. We want to see more takes on it. We want to see like new hands, like because obviously Negoshi's not going to be doing everything, so we're going to get new people getting a chance for story, new people getting a chance for gameplay. And hopefully it differentiates itself and can provide something. Because this is also going to be a good jumping on point. Because like as much as I love Yakuza, I'm tired of being like, hey, if you want to get into Yakuza, play Yakuza 0. Like if you're not going to play Yakuza at this point, then you don't have to. You can maybe try this, and maybe this will get you uh, into that kind of game. because there's not a lot of that
Mhm.
kind of game. So if you like this, then you can jump into Yakuza. I think they're going to benefit. I think having a Yakuza like in a way
Mm.
by the guy who made Yakuza going alongside Yakuza will actually benefit both because
I think
there's not
yeah.
that many games in that genre. So, uh, but yeah. All right, Scott, what do you got next? I think we should probably do like 6 each because we're already at an hour
Okay.
and 10. I think we do like starting 5 plus a 6 man. I think that's a good number out of like the
And
20 or
6
so.
man, I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Okay. I'll take in that case, I'm gonna go international. I'm gonna go over to EuroLeague. Scout out this guy out of Sweden who's been really cooking some stuff up recently. I'll see what he can bring to the court. Um, I'm taking I'm taking Ontos
Mm.
from the from Frictional Games,
Yeah, that's the
who
the
have
Soma spiritual successor.
done Amnesia, Dark Descent, and who did Soma. Um, yeah, this is very much a spiritual successor to Soma, like you said. It's got Stellan Skarsgård, who I fucking love. I just love his voice. I love everything he's in. Andor Chernobyl. And yeah, they're just so good at these moody, their genre of horror, excuse me. Um, Soma, I think drastically, like really, Soma's really what put them on the map. Like it sold like a million in its first year. It did even better. It did better than Amnesia: Dark Descent by like a significant amount. Um, yeah, I'm really I mean I'm just really excited for this. These games are great. They're just great games that have the lights off and play. So I'm excited to see. Can you believe it's been 10 years since Soma?
No, but it checks out.
Yeah, it's 2020, 2020 or 2015 is when it came out on Windows in September, so just over 10 years. Um, yeah, yeah, because like I love these like first person where those first person games where you can't just fight your way out. There's one that I played that was on like a Scottish oil rig. That was on Game Pass. And it was like it was like a Cthulhu like monster that was like
I know
tearing
the
the
one you're
place
talking
up.
about. I've seen people play it.
Still
Yeah.
still wakes the deep.
Yep.
And that reminded me a lot of Soma. So I want a little bit I want more of that stuff, and it looks like we're getting it. Uh yeah, just we're more Soma with Skarsgård in it. Sold. Put it on put drafting it. I like him on my team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll keep the creepy vibes going a little bit. Not necessarily in the same way, but I'm gonna take Coven of the Chicken Foot. So this is the a new game by like a smaller studio formed by the co-creator of The Last of Us and Uncharted. Bruce Stanley made a Wildflower Interactive, a smaller studio, back in 2022. This is their first game. They're describing it as a single player adventure about the bonding of an old witch and a peculiar creature as they attempt to fulfill a coven's oath. Obviously, the trailer itself gave both good and a little bit of like unsettling vibes in terms of like what this journey is going to be. I found out just now that the old woman's name is Gertie, which is a very old woman, cute name. We don't know what the creature's name is yet. The her companion creature. But this feels like it's going to be a walking simulator with puzzles, which I'm all about. That's like my shit. Love those kind of games. You're gonna get cool interactions between Gertie and the creature, and their environment. The unsettling vibes come from a few moments in the trailer, and like kind of like what you might be trying to uncover, or what might be trying to stop you from uncovering whatever this coven's oath is. With trying to complete this oath. My guess would be, and I hope I'm not just guessing the plot of the game off the top of my head, but uh, based on what how old Gertie is and trying to complete the Covenant's oath, my guess would be that this is like um her journey to finish something that she wanted to do when she was younger, and she's
Mhm.
going to end up passing away at the end of the game once they complete their journey. Kind of style of game. And then this creature is like her companion from the forest or something where she lives, or maybe she doesn't have a family, whatever. Those kind of vibes. I'm excited for this. Looks great. The art style is awesome. I hope they can nail that like dynamic. I don't know if it's. I haven't looked into if it's co-op or if it's like full on like you're controlling both characters. So
Mhm.
either way, I'm in. Just because I love these kind of games. So that'll be my My is that what penultimate pick? I believe that's 5 for me. Yep. So
That'll,
that'll be
yep,
my
that's
fifth
your
pick.
fifth. Hmm. Still some tough choices.
Yeah, I've got 2 left on my board that I'm kind of like, I'm gonna be a little upset
Hmm.
to leave one of them off, but I think I know where I'm going after this, depending on where you go.
I should. It'd be funny if I can't. It wouldn't be allowed, but like I'm gonna pull the draft both Tomb Raiders in one pick. That'd be cheating. Give me the Tomb Raider brothers or sisters, I guess. Um, although I never played Tomb Raider, so I wasn't really. Not that like I was opposed to it, but like I don't think it was like it's mainly a PlayStation game, right? And
What
I didn't have
was?
PlayStation as a kid. The Tomb Raiders were
Okay,
PlayStation games.
so the original trilogy were PlayStation. Yes, I have the original trilogy on PlayStation, I believe. I think they came to Xbox too when that launched. But yeah, they were PlayStation games, PlayStation and PC. They were not Nintendo games, if that's what you mean.
Okay. Man, I in that case, you know what? I'm gonna take. Ooh, no, I'm gonna go with the genre that I don't usually play, but I would like to get into it because people have told me that the other version of this is really good. I'm gonna grab Total War Warhammer 40K.
Okay.
Because I like the Warhammer franchise. I like the 40K franchise. I'm not a big strategy guy. But from what I've seen from Total War, that's kind of like it does seem like they're the best at it in terms of making really good cinematic experiences and making the battles feel really cool and really alive. Um, so yeah, I just think Warhammer 40K's lore and just the depth of the lore and some of the cool shit that they do in there is just really really cool. So I'm excited to because I have friends in my CSW Discord who are big into this, and so I will essentially learn from them and play regularly with them and try this for the first time, and I think I'll enjoy it a lot. Um, now I've already locked it in, so I was gonna change my mind, but I locked it in. Warhammer 40K.
Yeah, I played Total Warhammer 2, or the most recent one of that. The fantasy one. I've been playing that a little bit with a friend who convinced me to get it. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm usually not into these kind of sim games unless I'm playing with friends. The attention to detail and like the scale is really cool. I can't wait to see what they do with 40K. I'm not a Warhammer person. I will probably will never be a Warhammer person. That's not my cup of tea. I don't really like that kind of sci-fi or fantasy that much. But yeah, the gameplay itself is really good, especially if you really like that kind of game. I can see a lot of people sinking a lot of time into this, and they support the games forever. So, we're going to be a really good game. I have no doubt about that. So for viewers watching on YouTube, you might have seen my reaction to something while Scott was talking. I was researching my next pick a little bit so I could talk about it because after Scott made his, I decided I locked mine in, and I found out a very interesting fact about it. So I'm going to be taking Out of Words, which is the co-op platformer, kind of like the claymation stop motion style, where you're playing as two kids, Kurt and Carla, who get sucked into like a fictional world and lose their mouths essentially. So I'm not going to dive too much deeper into what like the plot of what it is, but it looks like a fun co-op platformer game with like some really cool set pieces, really awesome art style, whatever. What I was surprised by is that so this is being developed by Kong Orange and developed by Kong Orange and then also co-developed by Wired Fly, which is an animation studio specifically, which is helping with all the making it look like it does. It's being published by Epic, but what got me was the director is Morten Sundergaard. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And I looked up his name because I've never heard of that before. Um, but he is a very well known, I believe, Danish poet. Yeah, a Danish poet. And I was like, what is a Danish poet doing directing a video game? Like,
What
but
what's a polar
like
bear
an
doing in
award
Arlington,
winning, like,
Texas?
I thought I heard the name before, like an award winning Danish poet, like very highly regarded poet. But like or at least in terms of what I know of him. But
Right.
yeah, like it's like apparently developed like on his works and stuff, so he's like directly involved with every element of the game. So I'm like, I'm way more interested now because this is gonna be some wild shit if a poet's like directly involved in the storytelling and everything. So yeah, that's just like one of those picks where I'm like, I really like these kind of like not only just the co-op. I mean, I picked Covenant of the Chickenfoot last time. I like these uh smaller, nuanced, like they have a point to
Hmm.
what they're doing. They're gonna tell a story. They're gonna have a really cool visual style while telling the story. You're gonna get a lot out of just like walking and exploring and doing the things in between the key moments of like the big set pieces and whatnot. And we're getting both more and less of these because yes, there are more people making them, but also as more of them get made, you're losing the true touch of like the ones that are truly great. Like the fire watches and like obviously like
Hmm.
the abzus and the this sort of the seas and stuff like that still happen, but they're um I want more people to try and do something in these veins because now we're getting like people are joking. I almost took I mean you still have a pick left. I don't care if you take any of these, but I almost took orbitals, which is the
Hmm.
very similar two-player co-op in the like 80, late 80s early 90s anime style. It's gonna be switched to
Yeah.
exclusive about a space kind of space fantasy, and people are calling these haze likes now,
Mm.
where it's like they're like focused couch co-op games that can be played alone or with other people. They're probably best enjoyed with other people that have stories to tell or have a visual style that will help with what they're trying to tell. I'm glad we're getting more of those. I want this to transfer into more Firewatches, more Jusants, more
Hmm.
Abzus, and Sword of the Seas. I want more people to be able to use gaming in like this visual storytelling way where you don't necessarily need words, you don't necessarily need the traditional methods of storytelling to get what you want out there. You can just use visuals. You can just use like two characters. You can just use one character. I mean, I finished Toussaint a couple months ago, um, and that has no words. That's all sounds. It's all reading. It's all climbing and environmental based, and it's same with Abzu. Same with Sword of the Sea. Like those games are such beautiful storytelling mediums that you can't get anywhere else. And I want more people to do I want more people to do these kind of games. I want like the out of worlds, the split fictions. I want more people to do these because those are something we're sorely missing. Like specific kinds of games. Um,
Hmm.
like because the couch co-op went away and it's slowly making its way back. And that's great because we need those, especially with the
Yeah.
friend pass system or like being able to share the game with a friend just by buying it once. Like we need more of that. We need more of these atmospheric games. We need more horror games. We need more
Hmm.
experiences that people can enjoy as the artists intend without having to contend with the AAA space or like the kind of the rotting corpse of what the former games industry was.
Right.
So, all right,
Yeah.
Scott,
I
there.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited for. I just love the depth of genres we're getting and the
Mm,
different styles and yeah, couch co-op being back is really cool.
couch co-op being
Um,
back is great. I love couch co-op.
I'm I'm gonna take a six pick here, and then I'm going to afterwards. I'm gonna take a brief mention of a team or of a pick that I'm essentially signing to a 10-day contract.
Trying them
And
out.
I'll
Got
explain
it.
why. Yeah, but for my six pick and for my actual starter or for my six man, I'm going with Warlock. This new D&D game.
Okay.
I'm surprised that this has never been a game called Warlock before. That kind of took me. I looked it up. I was like, wow, there's no
I
games
think there
called
might be
Warlock.
a game called
But
Warlock, which might be why they added Dungeons and Dragons to the subtext.
mm,
But also that could just be a branding thing. So, but who
could
knows?
be. But yeah, they I think people are really interested in D&D games, especially after the success of Baldur's Gate. Um, I am really interested in just the warlock class as a whole.
Mm,
Their interactions with demons, just how just the way they do magic is just really interesting. And so it's gonna be fun and edgy, and it's probably gonna have some sick combat in it. And a lot of magic based stuff, a lot of magic infused weapons. This looks like it'll be fun. And this is coming from it's a D&D game, so it's going to be published by
Wizards of the Coast.
was it a Coast? who are also making Exodus,
Yeah,
or who are
that
publishing
one's I
Exodus,
forgot
which is
they
a
were
game
they were publishing that. I forgot that
yeah,
was a
that looks
Wizards of the Coast game.
that one's really that looks like a really cool game. There's a lot of
Mhm.
excitement in my household. Steph's a big Mass Effect person, so Exodus is one she's super excited for. But I'm also excited for anything the Wizards of the Coast do because, like I said, I think people, including me, just want more D&D infused stuff. So I'm taking this one. And so now I want to talk very briefly about someone who I'm not drafting because no one would ever draft them,
Mm.
but someone who I'm going to give a 10-day contract to and just see, a two-way contract. So, they're not, we can send them another G League if we have to. Um, I just want to try High Guard. I think this
I knew
probably
this
will.
is where you
I
were
think we,
going.
I think we were gonna. I think we were gonna talk about this a little bit. Just
Yeah, we can talk about this more in
the
depth. It's going to be out in a month and a half. Like we can talk about it more
that's what I'm
in a bit.
that's what I'm saying. So for those who didn't watch Game Awards, just looked at the list of it, or maybe just looked at the list of the announcements. The show closed with this announcement from High Guard, from a studio that is a lot of former Respawn people, so the people who developed Apex Legends, people who developed Titanfall, which obviously are two very great shooters. And they showed off their new shooter, which is kind of fantasy infused a little bit,
Yep.
um, but kind of has a lot of the aspects that people are really not. A hero based multiplayer
It
shooter with
it feels like they took after talking with some people about it a little bit more because I felt like it kind of stood alone but and wasn't like full hero shootery, but it does feel like they took the core concepts of Titanfall and Apex Legends and pulled it even more into a hero shooter kind of base with what they're going for. Now there's obviously it's not PvPvE, is it? It's just PvP, I believe.
I'm not sure.
I
I
everything
would
I've
it looks PvP
seen,
it looks solely
I think it's
PvP.
just PvP, but it has almost like a VE element in terms of like you're trying to raid the other team's base with like it's basically like from what I understand, and I haven't deep dived this yet because we probably will when we talk about it ahead of release. But you have the two sides spawning in like their castle or whatever, and the middle ground is like the big battlefield where everything happens, and there's interactables in those big battlefields, and once you take some of those interactables you can then go further into the enemy territory. It's almost like whatchamacallit, the push mode from the original Battlefront, or from
Yeah.
Battlefront 2, the EA ones, where you take the front facing points, and the more advantage you gain in those, you get to push into enemy lines a little bit, that kind of stuff. So like the back and forth there, I wonder how that's going to work. I understand why you're taking this though. It's because it came out of nowhere. We obviously didn't know this was happening, just because they worked on it basically in secrecy for 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Um,
Essentially, the reason I want to try it is for a few things. One, I just for a few reasons. One, it's Respawn devs. People who make Titanfall, people who made
it's gonna
Apex
feel
Legends.
good.
So there's
I'm not worried about it feeling
it's
good. It's gonna
the
feel good.
shooting is going to feel nice because that's a big thing I actually felt about Concord,
Mm.
and because it drew a lot of Concord comparisons. People being like, "Oh, it's generic looking multiplayer hero ability based shooter." The Concord shooting didn't even feel that good, and so that's kind of why. I mean, for a lot of reasons, why that kind of fell flat. The shooting is going to feel good. Um, and the other idea is just like, well, it's free. It's a free shooter, so all I'm losing is time by trying it.
Yeah.
And I guess just the principle of just like, yeah, I understand it's not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, but it also just feel like, especially on social media, it's just kind of trendy now to just fucking dump on shit like this before even like
Every multiplayer game. It's
getting
like every multiplayer game gets dumped on for no reason as soon as it gets announced,
yeah.
even if it's like a new concept.
And then we get the Game Awards next year, and people complain that multiplayer games aren't being regarded high enough. They're like, "Oh, people disrespecting our creators or Battlefield." It's like these games get announced, and you fucking take a big fucking shit on them, and then and then you just get surprised and then these games go away because people don't play them enough, and then so the ones you get aren't very good, or they're not updated enough, or whatever. And it's like, pick one. You just support multiplayer games or don't. Like it's just like, ugh. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it.
I,
I
I'll, I'll
don't
I'll
expect.
try it with you. I'm interested enough to give it a go. Just like, I mean, I played a little bit of Apex and I enjoyed what I played of that. I'm just not a huge battle royale person. at the end of the day. Like I'm not a competitive shooter person, but like the concept of this has me interested enough to give it a go. I mean, I would have tried Concord when
Yeah.
that came out, if it wasn't dead before I got home.
I think I tried the test.
You
Yeah,
did,
you
yeah,
were in a town. I tried the
yeah.
test and I was like, "It's
The
fine."
test was while I was at Evo. The
And
test I
it
was going to
couldn't
be able
and
to
it
do.
couldn't and the problem is it couldn't be fine for all that was invested into it.
Yeah, like I,
And that's really my worry about High Guard is that it's just gonna be fine. And
yeah,
people when it comes to multiplayer shooters especially because here's another thing that did Concord in. It also costs $40.
yeah. This is
And so
free to play.
not only do you have to pay $40 and you want friends to play with you, you have to convince them to spend $40.
$40.
Where
Yeah.
this, it's like, hey, let's just download it, let's see what
The
happens.
fact that
It's easier to convince your there will be a wave of streamers doing partnered streams playing
yeah,
it. Maybe there'll be like a drop or something that'll
there'll
get
be an
people
early
to
access period to get people hyped up about it in terms of like some
yeah.
streamers getting early access to kind of hype it up, whether they're paid or not. Like we'll learn
People go,
very
"Oh,
quickly,
250,000 people playing on day 1," but there's gonna be heavily inflated because of the streaming stuff and, because it's new and people just wanna try it.
and then we're gonna get the
We'll
articles a
see.
week later that it's like it's dropped 60% of its player base, and I'm fucking stupid. Whatever.
90% of High Guard's player base has evaporated in a week. It's like, "Okay, Paul Tassi, let's calm down. Let's just
Yeah.
chill out for a
Thanks,
second."
Polygon. No, the point I wanted to make first off, the fact that Concord didn't launch with like PS Plus, like free on PS Plus,
Hmm,
is going to be the biggest miss of that.
baffling.
Like
Yeah,
you had not only you have multiple. I can name two off the top of my head, that drastically shaped essentially the way the industry looked at two titles, just by doing that. So obviously Rocket League was a huge one when that came to consoles. That being free on PS Plus made that game a juggernaut. Like that game became a household name. It was probably going to be anyways, but that was an easy win for Rocket League doing that. But the one a lot of people don't know about is Virtual Fighter 5. I don't remember the name of the Ultimate Showdown. Virtual Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown, when they redid Virtual Fighter 5 for the first time in, God, 15, 16 years, whatever. New coat of paint, some updates to stuff, some new content, all that good stuff. Launched that free on PS Plus. When that launched, that completely reshaped how Sega viewed Virtual Fighter. We got another update this year, Virtual Fighter 5 Revo World Stage, that makes the game even better. Has a balance patch for the first time since the game launched back in 2009, I want to say. And
mhm,
we got a new Virtual Fighter announced since then. Like stuff like that matters. Getting game people easy access to these games matters, even if they're not free to play, because that game costs money if you weren't on PS Plus. But because so many people have PS Plus already, they were willing to download the game and give it a try, and people liked it. The fact that they didn't do that with Concord, they couldn't predict that they wouldn't be able to sell $40 copies of Concord to everybody,
mhm.
and they didn't just put it on PS Plus, take the hit a little bit, or maybe even have some people subscribe to PS Plus to try it for a month, and then get the word of mouth going and get
Yeah,
like some
that's
positive press easily. That baffled
we
me
could we could
forever.
we could be here all day about
Yeah, I don't want
what
to talk about
Concord
Concord
did
anymore. But
wrong.
same similar
But,
to High Guard. High Guard being free to play, I'm
it
willing to give it a try
yeah,
because of that. Like,
yeah, because it doesn't have that same it doesn't have, you can't put it on Game Pass, it's not gonna be on but it's gonna be free, so
yeah,
it's, is it worth is it worth trying? Yes.
it's worth
I think
trying.
I think anything is worth
It'll
trying.
it'll be worth trying, and we know that at least the gunplay will feel good. How
Yeah,
everything else factors into that, and how the gameplay loop will be the ultimate deciding factor there of how
yeah.
the game shapes up post launch. It has a lot working against it, but also has like some good stuff working for it as a free to play game. So we'll see how it goes. I'll do something similar. I'll just like briefly do like honorable mention pick. I'll talk about
Who are you giving a 10-day to?
well, so my thing is like the Free Shepherd's cool. Dog game where you're herding sheep. That's dope. Tank Rat looked kind of cool. Obviously Orbitals I talked about a little bit earlier. I'm gonna give
Tankrat I was thinking about,
yeah.
yeah.
I'll give mine to Mega Man Dual Override. Just I'm not the biggest Mega
That's a
Man
good one.
guy. I like Mega Man Battle Network more than I like Mega Man traditional. Just because I'm not a huge like 2D platformer person, especially like Mega Man. I played a shit ton of it, but I'm terrible at it. But I want to, I want to give it the highlight both because this is Capcom backing up their claim from like last week where they're like, hey, we're bringing Mega Man DMC and Phoenix Wright into our like main staple of like we're going to start developing these more, along with like the Monster Hunters and the Street Fighters and those kind of games. So they're already willing to back it up. This game's coming 2027. It looks like it's going to be visually similar to 2018's Mega Man 11, but it looks like they're going for more. And I also wanted to shout out that they're also doing a contest where one of the robot masters in the game, one of the bosses in the game, will be a fan design character.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be sick. Like
That's
they're
cool.
doing the
That's
right
really
things
cool.
here, and I think now's a good time to bring Mega Man back because people like challenging platformers. There's kind of a gap in that like 2D platformer genre in terms of like staples. You get a couple here or there, like a Hollow Knight can count in there, but it's more of a combat game than
Mm-hmm.
Mega Man is. Like Mega Man is like a more of a platformer than an action game.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I'm interested to see. I think a lot of people wanted Mega Man X because we haven't gotten a new Mega Man X game in a while, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that might have been the better call than to do the classic Mega Man. But I think they want to fully revitalize Mega Man as a whole, and doing classic Mega Man
Yeah, they do.
first.
They've explicitly said
Yeah.
they want to Mega Man to be one of their core franchises.
So with that,
So yeah.
I'm interested. I'm interested to see where that goes. I did want to shout out quickly before we call it here. The last couple bits of news here. Another Capcom thing, specifically in the show and then post the show. Since we got Leon Kennedy coming back confirmed as a playable character, which is dope.
Mhm.
My cousin was freaking out. He just played Resi for the first time and was texting me about it. Like he played all the Resis this summer. He's like, I'm so glad I played all the Resis now because I can be super hyped for this. Uh, but they confirmed that it'll be Grace and Leon will play completely differently and have different focuses in the gameplay. So Grace's will be more horror kind of strategy, like slow paced, like discovery kind of exploration and dealing with like the kind of normal like Resi gameplay you're used to in like the classic ones. And then Leon will be more focused on the action, the kind of high paced, adrenaline fueled kind of interactions with characters and zombies and whatnot. So they're going for a duality approach here, which I think is really good, especially since they want to kind of. I think this game's going to have a lot to do with like what the future of Resi is going to look like. 8 kind of set up some stuff, and 9 feels like it's going to hammer home. Kind of like we're going back to Raccoon City. Like they're going to have a lot of Resi deep cuts and kind of like callbacks and what's next, especially since Leon's like 50 years old. So they're slowly having to move things forward in the franchise in ways that they haven't had to do before. So I'm interested there. I'm not the biggest Resi guy. That's not my Capcom cup of tea, but I'll probably play this like because
Yeah,
it looks good.
the books are real cool. Well, I don't know. I haven't played any Resident Evil. I don't even know where to jump in if I wanted to
You can
in
jump
time
in
for
anywhere.
this.
You can play
Okay.
like so. If you just want to play the modern stuff, 7 is like
Hmm.
very horror-ish. Like that's the disturbing one. 8's more of like a classic Resident Evil. It's got a little bit more action, but it's still horror focused, exploration focused. All the
Hmm.
remakes are great. So 2, 3, 4, all fantastic. 4 still holds up if you want to play like the original too. Like if you can just get like the
Okay.
original on sale for like $5 somewhere. That Resident Evil 4 is like my favorite Resident Evil, and it's like critically probably most people's favorite Resident Evil just because it's such a good game. But yeah, you can jump in anywhere. Resi, like yeah, it has an interconnected story and a lot of like stuff you would benefit from knowing a lot about. But you can go enjoy any Resi. Like the experience of playing Resident Evil is not reliant on you knowing Resident Evil.
Okay.
So
Cool.
it's very fun. Capcom, that's a lot of Capcom stuff actually. Is you can kind of just jump in anywhere in like a lot of Capcom franchises and just enjoy the shit. And then
Oh
if you
yeah,
want to
that's
play
great.
more, the more is there. So Devil May Cry is like that. Like yes, you need like sure if you want all the lore of like why Dante and Virgil are fighting all the time, and like the lore of like the demons and like the underworld. Yeah, you need to play a lot of Devil May Cry. But if you just want to play a fun action game and learn about that lore and get
Is Monster
piecemealed it,
Hunter the same?
yeah, Monster Hunter lore is basically like per Monster Hunter. Now, I will say again, you get more out of it. Like in Wilds, there are characters in Wilds that are supposed to be, or at least rumored or assumed to be characters from like older Monster Hunter games that we're seeing again for the first time in a while, but that doesn't like
Mhm.
impact the lore that much. The lore is about the monsters and the area you're in and why you're in that part of the wild or that part of the world. Whether you're settling a new area or you're just exploring a new zone or you're helping the locals, like that kind of stuff. Um, and then Street Fighter's a fighting game. Out of all of them, Street Fighter matters
Yeah.
the least because the Street Fighter lore is so stupid and dumb and all over the place. It just doesn't matter. Street Fighter Five is the worst Avengers movie you'll ever watch. It's
What
bad.
about the Street Fighter movie that
Oh,
had the wildest segment
uh,
at the Game Awards?
well, I'm not a big fan of some of the casting. Obviously, I hate Andrew Schultz, as most people
Mhm.
should.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's there, especially as Dan, who I like as a character. That sucks. But like the vibes of the movie look like they're gonna be exactly what you would want.
Mhm.
Focus on the fighting with characters that are gonna be over the top and but with like a great style to the shots and the colors. All that looked like what you would want out of what's probably gonna end up being like a 6 out of 10. Like decent time to go watch.
Yeah.
I
It's
still
gonna
wish it
be
was the
fu
previous
ba
directors,
maybe, like yeah.
but we'll see. I Who knows?
Who
I
were the previous
probably
directors for it?
who's what? The directors, I can't remember the
Who were
name, but it was a pair of brothers that were YouTubers first before they were film directors, and they did
Hmm,
video game and Street Fighter fan films on
okay.
YouTube. So they know Street Fighter,
That's fun.
and then
Hell yeah.
now they're like critically acclaimed indie directors.
Nice.
And so they got them, and I was like, that's gonna be sick as shit. And then they left the project before the casting was announced. So the vibe still looks good. The vibes are still gonna be good in terms of like the visuals and probably what the movie actually is. I'm just a little less
Mhm.
excited about it now, especially because Andrew Schultz is in the movie. So just like
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. I thought that bit was. I thought bringing all of those people out was very dumb. I don't know how many of them were drunk, but it seemed like a lot of them. Uh, and yeah. Although the joke about the Mortal Kombat 2 thing was very funny. That was a very good bit. But yeah, that's the case.
How would you so and we talked about this earlier about how the not the majority, but the grade for the Game Awards that got um the biggest portion of votes was D or below, according to
Yeah,
Jeff Keighley's Twitter. Now that could be there could be brigading, there could be
there's
people
a
for
lot of
games. There's
brigading.
all
There's a lot of stupid stuff. Also, I want to say
how
um it was a lot of brigading just because people are stupid. There was a lot of like there's so many people that are just get out, go enjoy the art form and find new ways to interact with things instead of being on social media. If you're on social media, if and this is excluding the people that we know are going to be on social media that are chuds and stupid and hate women and hate minorities
Mhm,
and don't want them in the industry and don't want them to be represented ever because they're insecure and stupid and think like they're the only people that matter. This is not talking to you. If you're here, I don't know how you got this far into the podcast. Please leave.
mhm.
We don't want you here.
You can go.
Yeah, you can get out
Don't let the
and
door hit you.
let the door hit you. I'll slam the door if you want to get hit, because we know you're into that. But like, no, the but no,
What?
don't worry about it. Well, they like getting hit and being made fun of. We know that.
You're hanging out with Anna too much.
Oh, okay, shut up. But like, no, the if I had to give it a rating, I'd give it like a B probably. Like it wasn't there wasn't the pace. The last 20% of the show, like I like how the awards were paced. I like that kind of stuff. Like the
Mhm,
speeches and all that. I don't think Mega Man and what they showed of Mega Man into High Guard was
mm,
kind of like a worthy. I don't want to say worthy because that makes it sound like you have to have big budget
yeah,
things. It didn't hit like going to Okami 2, Okami getting a sequel
yeah,
into
mhm,
Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet like
yeah,
last
that
year.
it last year closed better, that's for
Exactly.
sure. I think, mostly it's just like there was more stuff for me, and by that I mean the 2 Star Wars
Exactly. You know,
things.
this was a very Scott
And that's
pandered
why I
show.
that's
Yes.
like when the show ended, I would have said, if the show immediately ended, and you asked me to grade, I'd be like, A plus, A plus, A plus infinity.
Yeah.
But like looking back at it, now I think B is fair. I think, like you said, with the high guard being, like I said, giving it 10 day, gonna give it a try. But like
Yeah.
it does feel like, I mean, there are some people who are like, well, wait, there's gonna be one more thing after Game of the Year.
No.
It's gonna be Half-Life 3. It's like you're delusional. You're an insane person.
No, I will say shout out to Mike Straw and the Insider Gaming crew. They did report that there are reaffirming reports that Half-Life 3 will be a launch title for the Steam machine. Uh, and as we
Yeah,
predicted, it wasn't going to be at the Game Awards just because Valve doesn't
no,
care. So
they can do their own thing.
yeah,
They
exactly.
they can literally
Just
afford
like
not to.
GTA.
It's funny.
GTA was
It's
never going to be
funny.
here.
It's funny. The big talking point was like, oh, like the cost of what it takes, the monetary cost of
Yeah,
being at
like
the show.
50K to
But
a
it's also
million
like,
dollars or something like that.
but
Yeah.
also if you have so much money, you can afford like not even need them.
Yeah, or that you just have your own channels and you just don't care. Like GTA is going to get views regardless. Valve's going to get views regardless. It just doesn't. They're not reliant on eyes in the same way like a Capcom is. Like Capcom needs to get eyes on their games, especially if they're trying to bring games back. Like Okami, they didn't. Okami, they could have announced that they were doing an Okami sequel at any point, and people would have been like, "Oh, that's sick." Bringing Mega Man back is a little bit different because the last time they brought Mega Man back, what 11 was like okay. It was like an
Mhm.
okay game. Um, and they haven't done a new Phoenix Wright in forever. All the Phoenix Wright games that have come out in the last almost 10 years have been bringing games that have never been translated over and giving them HD remakes or bundling games together for new audiences and stuff, which is like cool, great, and they do a really good job with those because there's a lot of cut content or like art and new stuff in there. But we haven't really had a new Phoenix Wright in a while.
Right.
And
Mhm.
DMC's been dormant since 5. And the last time we got a big content update for 5 was at the launch of the PS5 when they released the special edition version where there are more enemies on screen and you could play as Virgil, which was basically just DLC. Now the creator of DMC is gone from the studio or gone from Capcom, so like people are really wondering what's next for that. The creator of Mega Man left forever ago, so people are really wondering what's next. Like they're entering this new age for a lot of these franchises that they need eyes on it to get people excited for it to kind of gauge what they need to do. Valve and Take Two don't need to do that. Rockstar don't need to do that. But yeah, I'd give it a B. It was a good show. I didn't have a moment in the show where I was like rolling my eyes because of like a lull or because of them like making people walk off the stage faster and stuff. I get why people might be a little upset, especially about the announcement part. If you're upset about the award part of it, it's an award show. Like
Mhm.
Expedition 33 was going to win those awards with or without you watching. So
Yeah. Yeah, they were.
like just chill the fuck out. But it was a good show. I enjoyed it. I think I hope that they keep the focus. I hope they can keep the last 2 years the pacing of letting the devs do dev things and putting the focus still on the devs while also balancing it with announcements. I think that's been good the last 2 years, like really good. I
I think
think
so.
they
I
just
think so
need
too.
to, and again, we can't really blame Keeley for the You can't blame people for the announcements because if a game's not ready to show, a game's not ready to show.
Yeah.
So like you
Now
can't like force something.
the one thing I would ask, and I'm curious about is he do people pay for certain spots to be revealed,
That
or is he
would be.
deciding to put high guard
I
in
think
the
that's a
final
mix.
spot?
So obviously that's something we can't know without doing the research and asking around. It's probably something we could ask
Hmm.
around and find out. But my guess
Mm,
would be a mix of both. There's definitely going
mm,
to be a heavy favor to the games that the studios and people publishers that pay more to be in more favorable spots. But I think they also have to take into account the pacings that are probably consulting with them pretty consistently, like the people that pay to be in the show. They're probably consulting and being like, "Hey, are you okay with like a mid show like spot? Like we know you paid for this. Are you okay with this mid show
mm.
spot?" I the question would be, you have to start. You have to have a big announcement at the start to get a pop, which is
Yeah,
why they led with the new Star Wars
faded old Republic. Yeah,
But do you think leading with Mega Man and ending with that would have been better, even though you got to see more of High Guard? That's where the question runs into because High Guard, despite it being kind of generic in like what it's going for and like the approach or like the visuals and kind of what it is, that did still new reveal from a studio with a bunch of names or like a bunch of talent, and it's coming out in a month and a half with like a full gameplay reveal. Like that, how do you weigh that? Because the Mega Man reveal while it showed gameplay, was basically just showing generic Mega Man gameplay that looks good because it's in a new engine. Like the stuff that they showed there was basically a nothing burger. Like that was not a good showing for that after the reveal
Mhm.
that it was Mega Man. Like that was pretty
Yeah, it's
lame of a showing. So I think that could have been
mhm.
the lead off. But did Capcom
Yeah.
pay more? How are they splitting? There wasn't enough in this show that was high profile. That was like okay, cool. Like where like Control. Why wasn't Control the final thing? Like, is Control
It
big
could have
enough
been.
or popular enough or paid enough to be the final thing? That's where the dichotomy here is. It's like, okay, cool. You had like four big announcements technically, more than four, but like those four were like the big. Like, if I'm looking at the list, you've got uh Ace Combat was a big one, but Ace Combat's too niche. You're not putting that in a like prominent spot. Control, Divinity, Gang of Dragon is the first game from a new studio, and like gameplay they showed there's gameplay screenshots after, so they probably could have shown gameplay, and if it showed gameplay that'd probably been a bigger grab.
Hmm. Yeah,
But they
yeah,
didn't
I think
show it in the
without
trailer.
gameplay, you can do that one.
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
think the
it's
ones that could
Star
close, what
Wars.
could realistically close is Fate of the Old Republic.
Yeah,
I'm biased, I think Galactic Racer could have closed. Um,
that could have been I think that could have been the starter.
that
You
could
could
have
have
been the
started with
starter,
that.
and
That would
then
have been a really good primer, and then you
you
could have
close the
ended.
Fate,
Yeah,
and you close the, because you're like, because you watch, you're like, "Oh, great." Like, "Hey, we didn't get the Coda remake or whatever, but we got that." That's big for Star Wars fans. They're gonna love that. And then surprise them with Fate of the Republic.
yeah. I think the best outcome that I can think of off the cuff without like going through and trying to pace everything out based on what was shown. I think you started with the Galactic Racers. You kept um you kept Control as the middle because that was kind of the middle pop, and then you go Mega Man somewhere else in the middle to kind of play off of Control. Whether you do that first or second doesn't really matter, but somewhere in the middle, those two. High Guard uh, as the second to last because you get a more detailed look. Then you do the final announcement being Fate of the Old Republic because that doesn't.
Mhm.
It's a short trailer shows. You might have needed to show more if that's the case, or like give a little bit more of a cinematic. But I think that could have been the intergalactic of this year. But again, that's not long enough. It wasn't long enough to do that full spot. So, but I think that would have been optimal. Would have been Star Wars, Mega Man Control in some order, High Guard, end with Fate of the Old Republic, and then you go to Game of the Year and close it out. I think that would have been the
Mhm.
optimal way to do it in terms of pacing, not including what we actually saw. So that's just off the top of my head. I don't know. I thought the show was fine. I do think that the last 20% of the show definitely, in terms of announcements, fell flat compared to last year. But overall, good show. I did not feel like I wasted my time watching it like I have in years past. There were a couple of years there where I felt like, did I really need to watch this live? I mean, I was working it at that point, so yes. But
Right. Yeah.
like,
That's my biggest takeaway is I'm just glad I didn't have to do any work
bro,
for
I
this
was so
event.
happy
You're
just
like,
sitting on a
just so
stream,
relaxed.
riffing on it, not having to like report for an article or like do anything. I was very fun experience. So, well, we've talked for about an hour and 50 minutes. I think that's a good time to call it. Overall, Game Awards is fun. I'll let it. Actually, I'll run through the results of our draft real quick. So, in the comments below, tell us what your favorite announcement was, like what got you the most hype, and then vote on who won this draft. So, my team for the Game Awards announcement draft was Star Wars: Fate of the Old Republic, Bradley the Badger, Ace Combat 8, Gang of Dragon, Coven of the Chicken Foot, and Out of Words. And Scott's was Star Wars Galactic Racer, Divinity, Control Resonant, Ontos, Total Warhammer 40K, and he honorable mention to High Guard as the 10-day contract because we will both be playing that for at least
Oh, I
a
also
weekend.
grabbed the Warlock.
Oh, Warlock was the
I
last
didn't put
pick.
it.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, Warlock was
Warlock
my
Dungeons
last
and
starter, and
Dragons.
then I'm signing High Guard. I'm giving High Guard
Yeah,
a trial contract.
I'm not signing Mega Man. That game's too far away. Mega Man's gonna have to prove it before I waste a
You
draft pick on
you
it.
you took Fate of the Old Republic.
You were gonna take it. Don't
Yeah,
come
of
talking to me.
course I was.
When is Galactic Racer coming out? Did that say next year? Is that next year?
Next year, 2026.
Oh well, I got fucked.
Yeah. When we do Fantasy Critic, that's I mean, I don't even care how what I mean, how care like I'm taking it. I don't care if it's gonna be a very good score. I'm
I'm
taking
a,
it.
we need to talk about that. That's another thing we need to talk about. We could probably get a couple independent games critic groups together to do a good fantasy critic group.
I think so.
I'll hit up the
We
Skybox
get some
guys
next
and
we
we
can
could
also
find
just
some people to do it.
we can do next gamers one too.
Oh yeah, we could do a couple of them. That'd
Yeah,
be fun.
I think so.
We need to
That's
get
pretty
Tyler
I
on
think
here. We need to make Tyler talk about games. When's the last time Tyler talked about games?
I don't think I don't think Tyler works in
He doesn't.
esports media anymore. I think
None of us work in
he's
esports
got
media
a
anymore. What's esports media?
well, I kind of do. I work in
Yeah,
PR
you're
for
in
an
PR now.
like
I think CC's the only one that still does anything.
but
Still of
I still
consequence.
work with esports media people.
I still write
I don't
about
do
stuff.
it myself.
People don't read it, but I write about it. That doesn't mean I'm working in the industry right now.
I have 2 more weeks of okay. I have 2 more weeks of being in esports media because I'm calling quits on Dust 2 at the end of this month, just so I can focus more on
your work,
the actual job.
Well, the good news is it sounds like your actual job is like fulfilling your creative like wants in like certain ways. So that's like
it is, yeah, it is. It's fun there, but it is gonna get busy. It's gonna be a busy week, and then it's gonna be a busy week. Then the holidays kind of cools down, but then we get into January, it's gonna spool back up again. So I'm looking forward to relaxing over the last 2 weeks of December.
That's good. Well, like we said, viewers at home, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving, a good Game Awards. Hope you're getting ready to gear up for a good holiday season, whatever you celebrate and all that stuff. Let us know what your thoughts were of the Game Awards and of our draft and everything like that. Expect some news about. I mean, we'll probably wait until New Year's to share some news about the podcast. Scott and I are going to try some new things starting in the new year. But yeah, I hope you guys tune back in next week and enjoy your holidays. But until then, we'll talk to you later.